One day we find a full-scale war between the demons and all the races of the world, and we see so many corpses on the ground and blood everywhere, and the winner of the war because of mastering all combat skills with magic, is the Demon King. So he sits on one of the corpses and looks at the battlefield with mockery and asks himself, are these the coalition army? They were very weak. Suddenly a light appears from the sky and a whole army of half-humans whose half are birds comes out of it. So the Demon King laughs sarcastically and says to himself, I did not imagine that those also would intervene in the war. So the leader of the half-humans named Seraphim stands in front of him and says to him, we cannot let you rule the earth. Seraphim orders his soldiers to attack the Demon King, so he closes them and releases his terrifying energy on them and burns most of them. So Seraphim launches a huge energy ball at him and the rest of the soldiers attack him at the same time. And this war continued for more than 3 days and ended with the victory of the Demon King after he killed Seraphim. But the Demon King admits that he got tired of the war and the continuous fighting, and suddenly he feels someone approaching him and he recognizes her energy, and he finds that she is the leader of the demon army named Ishtar. So she laughs and says to him, a long time has passed, and she steps on Seraphim's corpse with all spite. So the Demon King asks her, why do you rebel? She replies and says, the whole thing is that no one can defeat you and I failed more than once. But now I can rule the earth with my power. So the Demon King is surprised and feels that he does not understand anything, and he begins to laugh loudly and says to her sarcastically, this is a very silly answer. So she tells him, you are always like this, and asks him, so what are you doing now? You know it is true that if you die the matter will end. You still have the reincarnation technique that makes you not die, I know, but you no longer are able to use it. So the Demon King replies sarcastically, don't worry, I am very fine. So Ishtar is surprised and says to him, then in this case see what you are going into. Suddenly he finds an army of the rebellious demons coming at him, and Ishtar orders them to finish him before he heals himself. So they all rush on him at the same time, and this time the many defeated the brave, and they are able to cut his arm. So the Demon King tries to resist them, but they finish him completely, and Ishtar ends the battle with a rain of swords falling on him while she laughs an evil laugh. Before the Demon King dies, he says in himself, why did you think that I would not be able to do the reincarnation technique, O Ishtar? And he opens his eyes again while smiling. In another time, and specifically in Tokyo, where something appeared called the dungeons, and inside them were monsters different in strength. So this era was called the era of the hunters, because students began to study and train on what makes them able to hunt monsters, and the category of people is determined according to their genes, and from the age of 12 they are tested for the category determination. And it is called the awakening efficiency test, and the efficiencies are different in strength and the person's growth speed and many other things. One day a huge giant of category A appears in the city, so the human soldiers shoot at him and are surprised that he is not affected by anything. So they try launching huge missiles and it explodes in him, but the result is the same and the giant is not injured by any scratch, and the giant gets very angry and tries to stomp on people, so they run away from him quickly, but a little girl trips in front of him. So the giant raises his huge axe and smiles with all evil before he brings it down on her. Suddenly a light appears from afar and a hunter from a high category arrives and blocks the axe, and holds the girl and quickly splits the giant in half with his sword. He lands with the girl on the ground and she thanks him while crying, and all the people around him are amazed at his power. And we know that this giant came out of one of the dungeons that appeared in this world, and that ordinary weapons do not affect them, and the person who can fight these monsters is called the Awakened. So all countries adopted a system of rewards for hunting monsters. So the Awakened made guilds for hunting the monsters that come out of the dungeons, and their goal is money and power and strength. At the same time, in the orphanage of the hunters who take care of the survivors, there is a boy named Hiroto watching the hunter while he finishes the giant. Suddenly some bullies in the house enter on him, and they beat him with all cruelty to make him pay them money, and because this boy is awakened from category F, which is the weakest category, he cannot defend himself and he cries. He remembers when he was young in the orphanage, and some bullies were bothering a girl named Yuzuki, so he stood in front of them to defend her. But after a while and after the awakening efficiency test, the scene is reversed, and this time the bullies are bothering him and she is the one who defends him because her category is higher. He cries on the ground and feels very pathetic. After the bullies go, she tells him, I am moving to the hunter training school and I will not be able to protect you again, and she screams at him and tells him the weak have other ways in fighting. Be wise and smart a little. And she leaves him and goes after her words stabbed in his heart like a knife, and though he knows that this is her way of expressing her kindness, it affected him very much. We return to the present and Hiroto goes to the Demas training, and this is a dungeon with monsters where beginner hunters train, and he is with a healer and a mage and a thief and a swordsman and an axe user, but the swordsman and the axe user treat the rest very badly because their rank is higher, and they tell them the reward will be divided and we will take the larger larger share. Suddenly the thief named Akira objects and tells them the reward should be divided according to effort. The swordsman comes close to him and punches him with all his strength in the stomach and tells him, we are hunters of rank B and C, how dare you talk to us like this? So Hiroto moves unintentionally but suddenly stops in his place and remembers when Yuzuki told him the weak have their way in fighting, so he says in himself, I am pathetic, and the swordsman stops the axe user from hitting Akira and tells him the thief's job is to remove the traps. If you make him helpless, who will remove the traps for us to get the treasure? Let's beat him after we leave this place. Suddenly a group of little goblins appear and attack them, so the swordsman and the axe user block their attack, and the axe user shouts at the mage because he is very slow, so the mage moves and strengthens him and the swordsman, so they are able to finish all the goblins quickly. So Hiroto tells Akira, the idea that we are not fighters makes me feel we are useless, but I am amazed that you could talk in front of those two, and sorry that I could not help you. So Akira replies, in cases like this you have no choices, and I object because I see them not deserving the whole reward and we take less than them. And he tells him sadly, and also because I need the money very much to make a non-profit hunter guild, and this is because the current hunter guild does not care for the poor, and there is something called acquired potions we find in the Demas, and these can cure any disease no matter what. And I heard the cost of one potion is very huge and it does not go to the people who really need it, who are the poor. And my sister has a disease that all doctors fail to cure, and of course we cannot buy a healing potion. So Hiroto tells him, you are a great and kind person. After they finish all the goblins, the swordsman gets angry at the mage and treats him very badly and threatens him that he will reduce his reward. Then the swordsman arrogantly orders Akira to open the treasure chest in front of them, and this is because Akira's job is to remove any traps in front of them and open the treasure chests. So Akira goes to the chest and takes out his tools and starts to unlock it without the trap activating. While he is working, the swordsman and the axe user mock him and insult him, and the mage tells the healer there should not be any dangerous traps here because we are in a beginner's Demas. So Hiroto says in himself, her words are right. No one died here before and that is why they let us come train in it. Suddenly they hear a scream, so they look at Akira and find many swords pierced his body and he fell on the ground dead, so they all are shocked and terrified. Suddenly the ground breaks under them and they fall into a place under the ground. So Hiroto quickly gets up to check on everyone and finds Akira's corpse, and this was the first corpse he saw in his life. Here they all realize the shocking truth that the Demas they thought was for beginners, you can die in it normally, and Hiroto is terrified of the idea of what they will do with him while he is the weakest among them, and he feels that his turn is coming and he will die after Akira. The swordsman and the axe user shout at them to calm down, and the swordsman says angrily that was just a little insect and a stupid thief. It does not matter that he died at all, so they all keep silent, not replying to him. And the axe user tells them, we only lost a treasure chest we could not open, but our combat power did not decrease at all. Then they look up thinking how they will climb again, and they ask Hiroto, did you forget the rope or do you have it? So he tells them, I will take it out now. He looks at Akira's corpse sadly, then walks with them, and the mage cries and asks with fear, was not this Demas supposed to be for beginners? There should not be deadly traps like this. So the healer replies, maybe this is the dungeon paradox. So they ask her, you mean the difficulty of the Demas suddenly changes? She tells them yes. And I heard this is something that happens in any Demas every few years. The swordsman laughs and says, very good. So we say what happened was just an accident. So Hiroto is shocked by his reaction, and the swordsman continues and says, generally I am glad that the one who died was that weak person. So Hiroto is more disgusted and remembers Akira's goal and his sick sister and is very upset. On their way the healer steps on something, and suddenly terrifying silver wolves appear in front of them. So the swordsman shouts and says, we will not be able to fight them, they are of a high rank for us. Then he asks them with fear, are not the silver wolves supposed to appear in the forbidden areas of the Demas? What brought them here? So the healer tells them that the dungeon paradox is also called the chain paradox, meaning it will keep going and each time something stronger than the one before will appear. So the swordsman asks the axe user, what will we do? So he thinks and looks at Hiroto with a very scary look. So Hiroto remembers that they studied in the academy the silver wolves, and one of their features is that they chase the weakest in the group first. So the sword user continues, we will run from one direction and Hiroto will lure the wolves from another direction. So Hiroto is terrified and asks him, you are joking, right? So the axe user puts his hand on the mage's shoulder and tells him, if Hiroto tries to run after us, shoot him. So Hiroto looks at the mage and asks him with fear, you will not do that, right? So the mage is very nervous and tells him sorry. So Hiroto looks in despair at the healer and asks her they are acting strangely, right, and begs her to tell them not to do this. But she is terrified and tells him sorry, but I agree with them. Hiroto tells them, wait, if we all cooperate our chance will be bigger. So they apologize again and leave him running, and Hiroto stands shocked thinking how much this world is never fair, and says in himself, even Yuzuki judged me as weak. Suddenly the wolves all attack him at the same time and tear him completely. So he says in himself, I do not want to be weak, nor be the one who needs someone's help and protection. I want to be the one who protects others. Suddenly his mobile lights up. The wolves are scared of the light of the mobile and leave him and run after Hiroto became a cut corpse, and we find on the screen of the mobile written Demon Lord System and Hiroto's state analysis, and a very strong light shines from it, and a screen appears written on it his skills and his level, and his health percentage increases until it fills completely as if in a game, and a countdown begins on Hiroto's revival. Hiroto gets up once again, not believing that he survived the wolves, and is more surprised when he finds all his wounds no longer exist. So he holds the mobile and says in himself, I do not remember downloading this system, and when he sees the blood on the screen he feels a strange pain and does not understand why this happened. Then he realizes he is completely alone, and that he must escape from this demus he is in. On his way he is surprised by goblin corpses on the ground, so he concludes that his team that ran killed them. Suddenly a goblin still alive appears, and pounces on Hiroto and bites his shoulder. So Hiroto moves his head away and tries to resist it. So the goblin hits him hard and Hiroto tries to protect his face, and he says in himself, the goblins are supposed to be just little insects, and I am weaker than it, meaning I am less than an insect also. Suddenly the goblin grabs his left eye and bursts it, but something strange happens in the Demon Lord system on the mobile, and a skill activates, and it is written its duration is 24 hours and it gives the user unlimited skills as if he gets the abilities of the real Demon Lord. At that moment his eye that the goblin burst heals, so the goblin extends his hand again, but Hiroto is faster and puts his finger in the goblin's eye, and Hiroto stands with full confidence and holds a rock and smashes it on his head. So a screen from the Demon Lord system appears saying achievement accomplished, goblin killed. Then another skill activates, absorbing the goblin and increasing his statistics like his strength and intelligence and mana. Hiroto is shocked and does not understand anything from the screen in front of him. In the middle of his questions he feels something strange, that there is something waiting for him in a corner of the darkness. So he wonders how he knew this information. Then he immediately feels all his senses increasing. So he says, I heard that thieves like Akira had a danger sense. Now I understood the matter. He gets up from above the dead goblin and throws the stone towards the thing he felt, which was an orc bigger than the goblin he killed, and the orcs are half humans and half animals. So Hiroto runs quickly at him and hits him in the eye with the stone. So the monster feels pain and falls on the ground, and Hiroto goes down on him and continues hitting. So he is happy his plan worked, but his strikes do not affect the goblin. So he realizes that the orc's level is higher than the goblins, and he reviews his information that the goblins are level F, the lowest category. Then right after them the orcs are category E, and higher than them were the two wolves from category D. He finds no solution but to hit him in his weak point with all his strength, and indeed he is able to defeat him in this way. So the achievement and reward screen appears in front of him again, and this time his level rises from 2 to 3 and his statistics also increase. So Hiroto notices that his strength is the highest in the statistics, so he runs to break the rock in his hand, and indeed he is able to break it. So Hiroto is shocked and falls on the ground from the shock, and asks himself, is not this the strength of a trainee adventurer in the school? How could a weak person like me do this? Bats appear in front of him and he tests his strength more to make sure that the screens appearing in front of him are real. So he throws small stones at them and finds that his aim is better and his attacks affect them, and he understands that when he defeats orcs or goblins the strength statistics increase because they use physical attacks, but when he defeats bats the agility and swiftness statistics increase, and when he defeats skeletons the mana increases, and when he defeats stone monsters like the golem his body build increases. He says in himself, I heard before that playing alone raises your level faster. So he decides to go deeper into the demus to fight different and stronger kinds, but he discovers that he cannot enter deeper than this without permission, so he is upset because he wants to defeat the silver wolves. Suddenly a new screen appears in front of him, written on it, new mission after 10 seconds. At that moment a pack of silver wolves appears before him, and they all run at him in anger and surround him, so he cannot escape. So Hiroto feels his mind in an automatic state of readiness, and quickly one of the wolves attacks him, so Hiroto's body moves and he punches it away from him. So Hiroto is glad and believes he has become stronger than them and can read their movements. So this time he initiates the attack and runs at one of the wolves and strikes it with his knee. All the wolves charge their energy, and Hiroto feels the situation will be hard without weapons, and the wolves surround him again and attack him all at the same time. And what happened before happens again, and they tear his body apart and he dies, and a screen appears saying that health became 0, but suddenly the life link skill activates and his health rises again to full, and the parts of his body that the wolves cut begin to grow, so they are shocked, and Hiroto drops to the ground, so the wolves rush at him quickly. Then a new skill called pain tolerance activates, and his body parts are formed again and he falls to the ground, so the wolves run at him. so he says to himself, the matter of a body that will not die is very annoying. I feel like I am in a game and being tormented in it. The wolves tear his body again and the level of the pain tolerance skill rises each time, but it reduces the pain to a certain level and he still feels it. And this time he drops down punching the wolves while thinking he will not defeat them without a weapon or anything sharp to kill them. So he remembers Akira's corpse and decides to go back and take a weapon from the blades embedded in his body. Indeed, he takes from them a sword and a dagger, and at that moment a wolf attacks him from his back. So Hiroto turns and cuts the wolf. So he gets more excited when he finds the method worked, and the expressions on his face turn to wickedness. And he remembers when he heard an anchor on television tell his co-anchor, "Do you know what can make a hunter gain real experience? To fight alone a monster of a high rank. And if he hunts 100 silver wolves it will be something great." Hiroto pounces on all the wolves in front of him and finishes them all, and he shouts loudly as a way of expressing victory. And his level rises very quickly and he earns the title of the Great Slayer, and he is surprised when he finds written before him Courage Level 2. And he finds a definition of the title he took, and he understands it is obtained by the one who endures fighting an enemy with a great gap in level between them. And he also understands that the courage skill increases his energy by 5% for each level, and he is currently at level 5, meaning in total his energy will increase by 25%. But Hiroto feels he cannot trust the screen that appears before him, and suddenly a notification appears before him and he opens it, and he finds a mission lasting 24 hours which is to fight monsters at a far higher level, and he has the choice to refuse or accept the mission. So Hiroto thinks well and reviews the events that happened up to now, and he feels some confidence in the skills he gained. And although he does not die like in games, he still feels fear of pain and wounds, and he feels he does not want to try again. And suddenly he remembers Yuzuki, so he asks the screen how much time is left on the effect of the life link skill. He finds that 18 hours remain, so he hits himself and says, "You fool. You live as mere trash and without any talent or use. Do you want to stay like this?" And he screams and says of course not. Then he finds all his wounds have healed, so he charges himself with resolve, and he says there will be no future if I do not take risks. I want to try, and he accepts the mission and is transferred from his place. On the other side, the swordsman and the axe user are sitting with their friends and laughing, so the swordsman tells them, "I heard many accidents can happen in raids," so the axe user replies it was a shock. Even so, a death in a beginner Demas was something never expected, and they all laugh loudly with full mockery. Then the axe user tells them, but away from jokes and kidding, "The matter is truly a very great disgrace." So one of his friends replies, "Even if you are a strong person, Kamurabayashi, the idea that someone you know dies before you is hard." So he replies, "Do not be stupid. Next week an inspector from the school will come to see the mock battles made at the school to evaluate us. And according to my expectations that freshman Hiroto will be in the same group as us." And they all laugh mockingly at Hiroto. Kamurabayashi's mobile is on the table and the Demon Lord system appears on it, and his level is 5, but all his statistics are very low. At the same time, Hiroto finds himself in another Demas, but this time its level is far higher, and he thinks about the number of times he died, and he finds before him a silver wolf, so he cuts off its head quickly and his skills increase. Suddenly a giant insect appears before him, and it kills him, and he reassembles again with the life link skill, so he kills it quickly and his level increases and reaches 15. But strangely a screen appears before him ordering a return to the Demas in his country, so he is transferred while thinking that without noticing he passed the trainee hunter level. At the same time, Kamurabayashi is standing with the swordsman, and Kamurabayashi asks him, "Did you hear?" So he replies, "Yes, I heard about Hiroto. It is impossible for him to survive the place he was in," and they both laugh mockingly. Then the expressions on their faces turn wicked and they say, "Then our mock battles will be in our favor." So another person who heard them enters, and asks them in surprise, "Do you not know the new rule that says you cannot enter a mock battle more than once only?" So both of them are shocked because they wanted to fight him both and defeat him. On the other side, Hiroto is in his room, and he remembers the day the orphanage found him thrown at the door unconscious, so he feels his memories stop from then and that all of this was a dream. Then he accepts reality and takes his mobile and opens the Demon Lord system, and he looks at the screen and says, "There are only two explanations before me. Either there is something wrong in my head or what is happening in my life is real." Suddenly the door knocks and opens, and he finds the swordsman before him looking at him with strange eyes, and he tells him, "There is something I want to talk to you about." So Hiroto lets him in, and the swordsman asks him to be his opponent in the mock battle. So Hiroto agrees and extends his hand to him, and the swordsman continues his words and tells him, "Of course, if you have any other plans you must cancel them because you cannot do a mock battle with anyone else then. And if someone threatens you and forces you to enter a mock battle with him, and he grabs Hiroto's hand and squeezes it with all his strength and tells him I will make you remember this pain. But he is surprised that Hiroto is not affected at all even though he put all his strength into the squeeze. And Hiroto himself is surprised and thinks he is acting, but he remembers the pain tolerance skill. Then he says to himself, I do not know why, but last time as soon as I saw this swordsman I froze in my place from fear. But compared to the silver wolves this swordsman is nothing. The swordsman becomes angry at the mocking looks that appeared on Hiroto's face, and lunges with his punch at him. So Hiroto's mind sends a quick signal to his body and he avoids the strike involuntarily, and quickly he returns the blow to his face so the swordsman falls to the ground bleeding from the strike. Hiroto looks at his fist in astonishment, not believing he is the one who did that, and realizes his level has become much higher than the swordsman. The swordsman quickly gets up and grabs Hiroto by his clothes nervously and shouts at him saying, impossible that a weak person like you does this. What trick did you use? I will forgive you if you tell me. Hiroto is angry at his words yet decides not to respond to him with what he did to him so he does not become like him. So he tells him enough. The swordsman replies nervously, you are the one who hit me first, impossible to let you go. So Hiroto holds his hand that was holding the shirt and presses on it strongly so the swordsman pulls his hand away quickly and Hiroto tells him I will not bother you again. So do not bother me either. The swordsman is scared and stays silent. The next day Hiroto draws a blood sample from his hand to send to the school, and this is a procedure done every period to follow their health and condition as hunters. After Hiroto hands his sample to the doctor, something worries him. He asks himself, will my condition appear to them and they will know my level and statistics, and he is anxious and not reassured about the matter. On the other side the swordsman is at home with his friends, and hits his friend who tries to heal his wounds because he is angry, and says nervously, surely Hiroto did something. If he did not, then it would be impossible for him to punch me like that. But maybe he did something. Did he take anything from the Demas? His friend replies that was a beginner's Demas. Impossible to find anything there. The swordsman asks him nervously, then can you tell me how he came back from there? And how he came back fine when the wolves ate him? Kamurabayashi replies, more important than that we must discipline him for what he did to you. I will enter the mock battle with him and show him who we are. The swordsman replies angrily, wait. This is my chance for revenge and I am the one who will enter the mock battle with him. Kamurabayashi grabs him by his clothes and tells him angrily, first, the reason for this meeting of ours is what you did to yourself. Second, there is a body check before the battle, and I do not care if he has something or not. Anyway, he will not be able to handle me. And do not worry, after the battle we can hit him as much as we want. At night in the school clinic, the doctor is terrified after seeing the results of Hiroto's blood sample test. The female doctor with him asks what is it. He points to Hiroto's data and tells her this student has not even studied in any hunter school yet. And as you see, there is a point next to his condition, and this means he entered the dungeon paradox. He is surely one of the people who had the incident in training. I do not know how to report this to my superiors. He was at level 1 and suddenly became 15. She tells him no need to report the matter. We are not obliged to do that. And anyway, the dungeon paradox has strange things happening, and also surely many people will have such statistics if their performance was good in training. And besides that, the boy is category F, which is the lowest category, and will not grow more than this. He replies, but the matter is not logical. She tells him sarcastically, what logic are you talking about? Monsters appeared and the world changed and nothing is understood or logical at all. On the other side in a restaurant, Hiroto is sitting eating and all people are surprised at the amount of food he keeps eating. Even the owner of the restaurant mocks him and tells him, will you take all the food here? Yet Hiroto feels still hungry and asks himself, when did I become this gluttonous? Suddenly a woman comes and sits before Hiroto. He tells her in surprise, I do not think I saw you before. She replies, I am a head coach from Artemis Hunter Training School, and I come here every year to see if there is any excellent student in the mock battle. But I am shocked you do not remember me, and I remember you. Hiroto remembers her because she approached Yuzuki before in one of the mock battles, and she explains to him that there are many schools, so the matter is like a war on who finds good hunters to join their school. And by the way, I see you every year, but I do not know why this time I feel you are a little different. Hiroto stays silent and does not reply to her. She asks him, were you in the dungeon incident? Did overcoming death affect your personality? And she tells him, I always hear that those who survive the dungeon paradox awaken a mysterious power. And I was researching this matter because I feel I want to do that. And she asks him to talk about what he went through and give her information. Hiroto replies, I do not mind talking, but only if you do not mind about my category F rank. She is surprised when she learns his rank and becomes nervous, and tells him, I think I was wrong. Sorry. He replies indifferently, never mind, it is a natural reaction. The teacher tries to fix the situation and gives him her number and tells him, call me if you need anything. Here Hiroto realizes there are two kinds of situations that happen from the strong against the weak: either mock him and try to take everything, or be overly kind with him. After a while in the battle arena of Hunter City Center, all the crowds are very excited and talk about the arena whose walls are made of special materials to endure the battles that happen in it. Suddenly Hiroto enters the player's room, so the swordsman and Kamurabayashi and their friends look at him with anger and disdain. The first battle is between Hiroto and Kamurabayashi. Before the battle starts, Kamurabayashi tells him, "Let us not consider this battle mock." Meaning in short, I will attack you with all my strength and there is a chance you die today. And anyway, the death of a person by accident in a mock battle is possible to happen normally. And I know if this happened in the past, Yuzuki would have come to save you. But your luck is bad and she is no longer here. And if you die today, you will be the second person who dies in our group. Hiroto is upset at his way of talking about Yuzuki and Akira. He replies with a very evil look and tells him, "You mean we will not hold ourselves back, right?" The referee gives the signal to start the battle. Kamurabayashi tells him, "There is a reason I fight you today seriously. And it is that if I show something interesting to the researchers, this will improve my career." Suddenly he throws the wooden sword from his hand and Hiroto is surprised. Kamurabayashi continues, "Surely if I hit a person of category F in battle, no one will like that. And so I will use magic," and strong magical flames circle around him. Hiroto is shocked because having a fighter who can use magic is very rare, and realizes Kamurabayashi was hiding his true power when he was in the dungeon with them and decided to leave him to die then, though he could have saved him. Hiroto is angry and throws his sword too, and tells him, "Fine, I will use magic too." Kamurabayashi laughs loudly and tells him mockingly, "What magic can a person of category F do? Surely at most you light a candle with your fire." Suddenly around Hiroto there is strong black magical energy and he charges a ball of magic in his hand. All the crowds are surprised how a person of category F does that. The signs of fear begin to appear on Kamurabayashi's face, and he tells him nervously, "Surely this is a trick," and he launches his little fireball at him. Hiroto launches the black energy ball in his hand and it erases Kamurabayashi's fire and is about to hit him, but Hiroto changes its course. Kamurabayashi is terrified and all the crowds are shocked at Hiroto's strength. Among the crowds is the teacher who sat with him while he ate. She is impressed with him and says, "This is not third-grade magic, even this is surely fourth." And she says in herself, "Last year it was Yuzuki and this year it will be this boy," and she leaves. At night we find Hiroto in his house on his bed, thinking of going to the same school that Yuzuki went to. And indeed he had paid the deposit to enter the school. He sleeps and dreams of a chained person before him and looks at him with anger. Hiroto wakes up in the morning and holds his mobile and is shocked when he finds written, "Remaining 36 hours on Demon Lord hunting event. And remaining time on your death 35 hours and 59 minutes. Hiroto tries to cancel that event but the mobile does not respond, yet he calms down and thinks that this application made him stronger, so if there is a chance to become even stronger he will face anything. At that moment he finds a notification on the mobile saying, "If you want to avoid death, delete the Demon Lord application. And if there is no response within 24 hours, a rental contract for your internal organs will be executed." And there is a question, do you want to delete the application or not? After that Hiroto goes down to ride with a driver from the school to take him there. They pass by a city inhabited by monsters, and no one knows the reason this city became like that. So Hiroto asks him, "Is this not the famous city where the total collapse tragedy happened?" The driver laughs and tells him, "Yes indeed, that happened 10 years ago, but the matter is safe now. Even so the government abandoned this area." Hiroto asks him, "So those allowed to live in this area are the zombies?" He replies, "Precisely, those who live here are the zombies and those in Artemis Hunter School like you." He tells him that the Demas in this city is still open, and if they do not defeat the monsters in it another tragedy may happen. He approaches a big gate in a rock and tells him this is the Demas. After that all along the way the driver keeps belittling Hiroto's strength and his level and tells him, "Do not raise your ambitions too much in this school." Suddenly Hiroto gets out of the car and opens the driver's door and pulls him. The driver is terrified, thinking he wants to kill him because of what he said, but Hiroto carries him on his shoulder and looks at the huge monster coming at them. The driver is terrified and tells him this monster is disaster level, so they both run quickly and hide. They look at the monster and find it stepping on their car and destroying it completely. The driver tells Hiroto 5 minutes remain and the students will come out of the Demas. "Let us wait for them here until the flame witch comes." Hiroto thinks that the flame witch he means might be Yuzuki. He asks the driver, "Is this monster not very dangerous? Can the students even handle it?" He replies, "There are many people stronger than the veteran level in this school," and tells him, "I do not even know why a monster like this is roaming in this area. Let us wait here the 5 minutes until someone from the students stronger than you handles it." Suddenly Hiroto asks him, "Then the pistol in your pocket is real?" The driver is shocked shocked how he knew there is a pistol in his pocket and tells him ordinary weapons like these do not affect them at all. Hiroto holds his dagger and tells him give me the pistol. The driver is alarmed and asks him, do you really want to fight it? Are you crazy? Hiroto replies, of course I do not want to fight it, but I am forced to do that. The monster approaches them, so Hiroto tells him we have no other choice, hurry. The driver asks him angrily, are you stupid? I told you this weapon will not affect them, what do you want to do with it? He replies, tell you I am stupid, just give the weapon. The driver replies, these monsters have a barrier around them. And people who have an efficiency like the hunters also have the same barrier, and that is why only they can destroy the monster's barrier and attack them. Hiroto insists he give him the weapon and the monster's energy passes near them. Hiroto gets angry and tells him hurry. The driver gives him the weapon and tells him then at least tell me what you will do. Hiroto replies, I will be the bait. And these monsters are sensitive to the sound of the weapon or explosions. So if you shoot at them at a weak point, for example, it may do some damage. So I will get close to them and fire at them so they focus on me and I lure them away. The driver replies, I am impressed by your courage, but I believe there is no use in what you want to do. And regarding your condition, as I see it is impossible for you to fight two monsters of rank B at the same time. So I will ask you to run and leave me. Anyway, you are rank F and I cannot treat you as a hunter. But compared to an ordinary citizen like me, surely you are more important. Hiroto thinks that he only needs to provide 5 minutes until the rest of the students come and tells the driver, you stay here. He runs quickly toward the two monsters and fires into the sky. The two monsters look at him and Hiroto runs and they chase him. Hiroto dodges them with skill and speed. Suddenly he jumps on one of them and drives the dagger into its head and pulls it to cut it. At the same time Yuzuki is with her team in the Demas. The spear bearer tells her your fire magic is very amazing. The mage replies with jealousy, if the swordswoman's magic is wonderful as you say, then what am I? The healer replies to her, by the way of the word swordswoman, she also has very strong skills in using the sword. And her level can make another swordsman back down when he sees her. And generally we all have great abilities, but she is at a completely different level. And that is why I told myself as long as I am with her I will be able to reach the deepest part of this dungeon. He asks Yuzuki, what do you think, we will be able to do it right? She replies with embarrassment, surely as long as we all do our part and cooperate. The mage replies arrogantly, it seems you know nothing. A huge dungeon like this has no record saying that mere trainees can conquer it. Yuzuki replies to her, well, we are 4 including you. And who knows, maybe we can conquer it. And I admit there is a gap between us in talent, but as long as we 4 are together surely we will manage. The mage replies angrily, you always look down on us. Well, for a genius like you of rank S it is very easy to be strong without much effort. The healer replies to her, do you not know that Yuzuki is the one who exerts the most effort at all? People call her the witch who does not sleep. She wakes up early before all of us and trains in using the sword. And at night she stays up learning magic. The swordsman asks her, why do you exert all this effort? Indeed, she tells them, because I was bullied when I was in the orphanage. And at that time a person defended me. They all are surprised that someone dared to bully her and the bigger surprise that someone tried to protect her. Yuzuki continues, and when the proficiency test came I learned that I am rank S and the person who defended me was rank F. And I was happy he helped me when I needed it, so I decided to be the one who protects people. The mage laughs mockingly and tells her very wonderful that a man protects a girl from bullying, and asks her then, why do you not exert this effort with him instead of being with us? Yuzuki replies, because everyone's abilities here are rank A and B, so I can actually do something and develop. But it is impossible to do that with him because he is at the lowest rank. Yuzuki approaches the Demas gate and is shocked when she sees the driver running with so many monsters chasing him. At the same time, after Hiroto finished one, the second monster pounces on him quickly and angrily. Hiroto passes between its legs and jumps on its head as well and fires a bullet at it. The monster becomes very angry and grabs him. Hiroto realizes that indeed bullets will never affect them and will only anger them. So he cuts the monster's hand with the dagger and drives it into its head, killing it like the previous monster. But the matter does not end and he finds other monsters coming at him. On the other side, Yuzuki has finished all the monsters chasing the driver quickly and says this number is not normal. The swordsman replies to her, surely something bad is happening now. Yuzuki approaches the driver and asks him, where is the student you said made himself bait so you could escape? He points her to his direction and Yuzuki runs quickly. At the same time, Hiroto has finished all the monsters that appeared to him and is sitting among the corpses resting. A level up screen appears to him, and he finds he reached 17 and his statistics increased. He decides to walk to their car that was destroyed to see if anything is intact or not, but suddenly all the monsters he thought he killed get up and it turns out they were only unconscious. At that moment a Demas gate opens before them. Hiroto is walking and thinking about the things he bought. He gets a notification from the Demon Lord application, so he opens to see and finds that 12 hours remain on his death. At the same time, Yuzuki is searching in the direction the driver told her, but she finds two paths next to each other. so she uses the enemy detection skill and finds the way. She continues saying in herself, hunters of rank S only are the ones who can use this skill and see screens before them. And I now have power. Or more precisely, someone gave it to me. Even so, this world is very unjust. When I was a child I wanted to be a hero because I saw injustice destroyed before me because of a person who saved me. But now I can no longer depend on anyone because he no longer can protect anyone. Even so, the injustice of this world will not stop no matter what happens. And that is why I got this power. When she arrives, she is surprised that the one who played the role of Bait is Hiroto. She takes him with her and her team in their car to deliver him and the driver with him to the school, but they make Hiroto ride in the car trunk, which is very bad treatment for Yuzuki's friend. On the way, the swordsman tells the team, in the end we found that the brave person who played the role of Bait is one of Yuzuki's old acquaintances, and that he being at the same strength as rank D hunters before even registering in the school is a good thing, and we can say he is experienced. And if we compare him to ourselves before registering, we can say he is at the same strength. The mage asks him slyly, do you want to add him to the team or what? He replies angrily, do not be stupid. The only impressive thing is his statistics. But he is still rank F, meaning the maximum he can reach is level 25. The mage looks at Hiroto and tells him this is just a disgrace, but Hiroto does not care, and says in himself, as I expected. They treat rank F badly. The swordsman asks Yuzuki, what is your relation to this student? She tells him, this is a dear person to me. We were siblings in the past and he used to protect me from bullying. The swordsman smiles mockingly and tells her, even so he is just a small freshman who cannot protect you now. She replies, yes, you are right. And that is why I must be the one to protect him. She tells Hiroto, if you will train in a dungeon, come to me first and I will dedicate some time to guide you. Hiroto hears but does not reply, but the swordsman replies to her and tells her, you are mixing your public and private life. Your duty to your country is to live as an elite and not waste your time with a weak person like him. She tells him, no. For me, I who have no family, he is my only family. When they arrive, the swordsman approaches Hiroto and tells him, welcome freshman. Come with me to the student union room, I want to talk to you about something important. At the same time, in parts of the city there is a group of zombies whose bodies are white moving toward a building. An energy barrier activates around that building, so all the zombies' bodies melt from the amount of energy. Suddenly strange orbs come out from the ground and gather into one orb. An orc like a huge bull comes out of it. After that a large group of the same creature comes out. They find before them a Demas gate, so they all enter it. On the other side, in the training room in the school, the healer tells the swordsman, wait, you want to make a mock battle on his first day here? I never heard of something like that before. The swordsman laughs wickedly and tells him, as the chosen person older than you, I want to teach this beginner the meaning of pain, and this is the tradition of our school and the way of success in it. The healer tells him he is not ready for something like this, then stays silent, feeling the matter is more personal. The swordsman tells Hiroto, your category is F and you have combat level of rank D, and at that level surely you cannot deal with the monsters you fought alone. And that is why I have no choice but to make you understand your place in this world. The mage replies, telling him, leave me out of this matter. I do not care if you want to bully him or whatever. This matter happened to me in the past and I do not like these traditions. Then she passes next to Yuzuki and asks her, our beautiful genius, did you get beaten in the past? Yuzuki replies, there was no one stronger than me in the disciplinary committee then, so it did not happen. The mage leaves the place. The swordsman goes to bring wooden swords to start the battle with Hiroto, but he allows Yuzuki to be present to be a witness to what will happen, so he is not accused of a crime. He throws a sword to Hiroto on the ground and tells him, get ready to receive some wounds for your benefit. Yuzuki replies angrily, I object to this battle. He tells her angrily, I say this as the head of the disciplinary committee that imposes order in the whole school, because if we leave him he will be a burden on his team and might endanger them. Yuzuki replies, bullying new arrivals is a bad tradition. I am not saying training is useless, but there are other better ways than this for training. He replies mockingly, here we follow the hunter's rules, and the school rules say that the head of the disciplinary committee is the one responsible here. Yuzuki replies angrily, well, I am the vice president of the student council, which is a higher rank than the whole disciplinary committee, and I order you to stop what you are doing. I will not allow anyone here to bully the weak. The swordsman is forced to throw the wooden sword on the ground and leave, and the healer goes out after him. Yuzuki tells Hiroto, I am sorry, but here your ability as a hunter is everything. She walks toward the door telling him, I know you will go through a lot and I wish you success. And do not forget the weak have their way in fighting, so please do not pressure yourself. Hiroto leaves as well, searching for the dorm he will sleep in. On his way the swordsman appears again and tells him, whatever Yuzuki said, I want to fight you. You need guidance. Hiroto asks him with full steadiness and confidence, can I start now? The swordsman replies yes. In a moment Hiroto disappears from before him and appears behind him. With one strike from Hiroto he loses consciousness. Hiroto holds him before he falls on his head and leaves him on the ground and walks away. In the past we learn that the swordsman's name is Kanzuya, who was born in an environment where he felt he was very special because his father and mother were elites, and one day someone older than him came to bully him and put his hand on his shoulder, so Kanzuya punched him in the face with all his strength and sent him flying into a shop window. From that time Kanzuya gained very great confidence in himself and became arrogant, seeing himself as the best and strongest person, and when he entered the elite school he was also stronger than all his classmates and superior to them in everything, so he gained even more confidence, until Yuzuki came and he found she was of a much higher rank than him. Then he decided she must be his future wife. The next morning Kanzuya wakes up and finds himself on the ground, so he is very surprised. On the other side the head of the school gathers all the students, and tells them sorry for this sudden meeting, but there is an emergency. Our school dungeon we found in it dangerous increases in mana ratio very greatly, and this means the number of monsters in it has increased excessively. And if the situation continues like this it will be dangerous for us and a disaster might happen. The only solution in this matter is that we defeat the monsters and reduce the mana ratio as long as it is still in our hands to control the situation. The problem is that there is no time to wait for support from the other schools, and that is why we will gather all the school students to fight. The students are terrified and say, we know this was in the contract of admission to the school, but was this not supposed to be only for emergencies? One of them replies, this is an emergency, you idiots. The head tells them, we know you are very worried, but before we were teachers we were elite hunters like you. So you will be divided into groups, each group led by an elite teacher. Please prepare and meet the teacher responsible for you. Hiroto stands and says in himself with astonishment, all this is happening on my first day in school. The teacher who was with him in the restaurant before meets him and tells him, I am sorry. I do not know if this is your bad luck or something else, and tells him you were supposed to apply as an advanced student and enter the best class in this school, Class A. The students hear her and say among themselves mockingly, Class A, is this not the hunter who is rank F? How could someone like that with no chance to develop in the future enter Class A? Suddenly Yuzuki enters and tells Hiroto, we must talk. She takes him and goes to another place, and Kanzuya sees them walking together, so he is upset. When they go out Yuzuki tells Hiroto, I think a disaster will happen in the dungeon. Hiroto is surprised and Yuzuki continues, this is just a hunch. And I think it is because of me since I am rank S. And she tells him, we the advanced students will deal with the dangerous monsters in the depths of the dungeon. But you and the other students will face the monsters near the entrance. And I came to tell you, if anything happens, no matter how small, come to me at once. Because if the disaster happens there will be no system and all will fight in fear. So it does not matter where you fight, whether in the depth or outside, come to me quickly so I protect you. On the other side there are 3 students sitting like a gang, talking about the disaster that will happen in the dungeon and whether they will take a reward from the school or not, and thinking of running away from the matter. Suddenly Kanzuya enters them, so they ask him, you got something fun for us again? He tells them yes, but this time something trivial. I want you to kill someone. He tells them the plan and leaves. At the same time the countdown of the Demon Lord system ends and it writes room created. The next day at the dungeon entrance, the teacher stands giving the students instructions and formation, telling them the only person who will enter the dungeon depth is the coach with combat experience. The chosen students with Yuzuki will be in the center. As for all the other students, they will be at the dungeon entrance killing the weak monsters. Their numbers are many but most are small. He tells them, be careful, we must end this matter safely, so all must follow the instructor's orders. As for Class A, they will be a special case because they are the best classes in the school, so they follow the attack team in the deepest part of the dungeon. The Class A students are worried. A girl named Ito raises her hand and asks, then why do we go to the deepest part? We are still not strong enough. He replies, I do not expect from you more than to support the team ahead of you, meaning protect the injured until they are healed or catch the monsters that escape from the team ahead of you. As for those responsible for the entrance, they are Class B students or less. Hiroto is thinking about Yuzuki and afraid she will die in the place she is going into. Suddenly the instructor calls him and Ito, and tells them, you two will not join the battle, stay with the attack team in the center. Hiroto asks in astonishment why. He replies, once the area is safe we need to make sure no monsters are entering again, so I want you to watch the entrance only. Ito asks in astonishment, we also are Class A students, why do you make us do that? He tells her, because the members entering the depth trained well in the real world. And you two are not strong enough. We must choose well the members we invest in to be our strength in the future. And you two are from categories E and F. Thinking of the future, I found you two not suitable. The teams enter the dungeon and begin exterminating the goblins and little goblins to make their way inside. The mages burn all that comes before them with fire. The swordsmen kill the orcs and goblins. At the same time the gang Kanzuya agreed with fights very strongly and effectively in the battle. The instructor says as I expected. They got very bad evaluations because of their behavior but their strength is rank A. What a waste. One of those students speaks to the instructor with disrespect, and asks him to let them handle themselves away from the others and without his orders. The instructor asks him in astonishment, you want to oppose me? The student replies, let us be honest. If we stay with these other weaklings they will drag us down and reduce our efficiency. And I think there will be no problem as long as we do what is required. The instructor replies angrily, so your behavior is bad and now you do not want to cooperate. You are a disgrace. The student replies, we just want to handle it our way. The instructor replies angrily, I am responsible here and I will never allow that. Here Kanzuya intervenes and tells the instructor calm down. Their abilities are first class, I do not think it is right to deal with them this way. He tells him allow me to lead them. The instructor agrees for Kanzuya's sake, and Kanzuya moves laughing an evil laugh telling them our target is the center guys. One of them named Oribi asks him, are you really going to introduce us to your father, the head of the main hunters guild in the country, if we follow your orders? Kanzuya replies with boredom, I told you many times I will keep my word. And you will be the Black Dragon Fong group in the guild and you will be responsible for the dirty work as you want. They all laugh and say like getting rid of a weak hunter in the dungeon and stealing. Oribi asks him, and killing also among the jobs, right? The dungeon is anyway a lawless zone. Kanzuya replies telling him, then I have a good chance for you. Our target now in the center is a woman. And we will say the monsters killed her so you can do what you want. They all are happy and agree. On the other side in the dungeon center Yuzuki and her team face monsters similar to what Hiroto met the first time he came to this city. Yuzuki defeats them easily and quickly with her sword. She uses her air step magic that makes her walk on air. She dodges the monsters and finishes them with flame magic. They all are impressed by her. Hiroto is watching her and says in himself as expected from her. Then he looks at Ito next to him and tells her, I want to ask you a question. She tells him, no problem, call me Murano. He asks her in astonishment, what is this? Is that Italian? She tells him, no, that is my first name. Avoid formality. He greets her and tells her, my name is Ijima. Then asks her, is it not supposed there is another person in Yuzuki's team wearing silver armor? She replies, yes, that is Kanzuya, and he was asked to go with the Class B students at the entrance. He tells her then another question. You do not mind shaking my hand when I am lower than you in category? In the orphanage they used to bully me and I found here no difference either. She laughs and tells him, do not worry, I am actually from the rank higher than you by not much. He feels she is a good person. After a while Ito feels bored and tells him, we are useless. All we do is just watch. He replies telling her, if the monsters pass us they will go to the entrance at once and cause much damage. She tells him, I know it is an important role, but if I see any monsters here I will run and we will be safe as long as I report. Suddenly they hear the sound of something approaching. She looks behind and finds two minotaur-like bulls. They both are surprised because it is not supposed to appear in this dungeon at all. Ito tells him, wait, are these not a very high level for students like us to handle? Hiroto asks her, did you not say you would run if you saw a monster? She replies nervously, even if I ran to report there is no place to run to at all. Hiroto pulls out his dagger and tells her, then we must do something. Ourselves. She tells him, wait, are you seeking death for a girl? Leave the matter to me. She charges at the monster so it strikes down on her with its axe. Ito jumps and lands with the spear on its back with very fast strikes. Hiroto is impressed by her skills and agility. Ito lands on the ground and charges the monster again, but her strikes do not affect it and do not even hurt it. But suddenly she manages to pierce its body, so the other monster fears her and runs away. Hiroto asks her, how did you pierce its body with that last strike? She replies telling him the weak point of monsters that are like humans is their throat. So if you use their attack and strike at them when they are charging you can pierce them. He tells her, but your fighting style is amazing. It is like what we learn in our school, but it looks different in the basics a little. She replies, yes, and that is why I entered Class A. She asks him, do you know Ito Sai? He asks her, that is the sword master from another era. There is a legend about his style in using the spear. She replies telling him, I am proud, I am from a samurai family, but unfortunately I am rank E. But I try to cover my weakness by discovering every monster's weak point and learning more martial arts. In the end I found myself here. Hiroto is surprised that the instructor excluded her from battle despite these amazing abilities. Ito shouts angrily and says about the instructor, you stupid hunter. All those born with talent are idiots. There must be equality between all. Then she tells him, fine, I became better. Try it yourself too. Hiroto feels embarrassed and tells her no thanks. Ito continues and tells him, and although when I train I give all my effort and more, I feel they mock my family's techniques and that made me feel troubled. She stays silent a while and tells him, but do not worry, you will be safe with me. Even though I cannot increase my power, I am the strongest in the first year now. Suddenly Oribi and his gang come in. Oribi tells Ito, you are the star who shined in the mock battle of of the school. Although your rank is low, your martial arts left an impression. But as long as the first-year students now are increasing their strength, and that is something you cannot do because of your rank, in the end you will be the weakest one of them. She asks him angrily, and what brought you here? He tells her because our leader is here. He looks at Kazuya and says he has something to finish with Hiroto. Kazuya tells Hiroto, I came to settle a personal matter, and there is no place more suitable than this to say the excuse that accidents are natural in any dungeon and he died because of monsters. And the dead do not tell what happened. Hiroto understands he came for revenge because of the punch that made him lose consciousness. Orabi continues and tells him, but do not think the matter will end quickly because we have orders to give you a death worthy of you. Ito says in herself, I heard many rumors about them, but I did not imagine the matter reached this degree. Hiroto asks them, if the dead do not tell what happened, what will you do with Ito? Kazuya replies, since you two got along well, I will let the guys do what they want with her. In a flash, Hiroto is beside Kazuya and punches him with a very strong blow. Ito is shocked, who was thinking how she will protect Hiroto and escape from the place that he preceded her. Hiroto continues with his amazing speed and finishes the rest of the gang in less than a second. Ito's mouth is wide open from the shock. She drops to her knee. At the same time, in the deepest place of the dungeon, we find the number of monsters very great. One of the elite mages tries to gather his energy and all the monsters surround him. Suddenly he presses them with magic and explodes them. In one of the laboratories there are many samples of strange experiments, among them a sample of an incomplete monster. It's named the sixth demon lord Vasha Valtin. Suddenly a flame of energy enters it and it opens its eye. In another place in the dungeon, a black knight fully armored is formed. We discover that it is the sixth demon lord, but this time his name is Black Asura of level A+. When a monster of this level appears, all the guilds abandon the idea of raiding any dungeon and flee because it is the beginning of tragedy. On the other side we find two hunters who finish their work. One of them says to the other, you do not look nervous. He replies, honestly I was nervous when they said there is an emergency. But I found the matter not worth it in the end. All we did were small things and now we are just watching. Suddenly Black Asura enters upon them. At the same time Hiroto and Ito have tied up all of Orabi's gang. Ito tells Hiroto, I heard you are at the level of a seasoned hunter, but your true strength is higher than a student's level at all. She asks him, can you tell me the secret of your strength? He replies very casually, I cannot tell you. Ito is surprised and asks him, what do you mean? I told you the weak points of the monsters I know. Are you a secret agent or what? He tells her no, the matter is not like that. Suddenly Black Ashura enters upon them. The moment Hiroto sees him he remembers Yuzuki when she fought him, feeling a disaster will happen. A stats screen appears before him and he finds the agility stats are in a different color. He feels it is trying to warn him of something. Ashura draws his sword and suddenly charges at Hiroto with terrible speed. Hiroto draws the dagger to block, but Ashura disappears from before him and appears behind him. He brings the sword down so Hiroto barely evades, but is wounded in his shoulder. He realizes he is faster than him and understands why the stats screen was warning. Quickly he charges at Ashura intending to fight seriously. He takes from his pocket a pouch with a mixture of hot pepper he had prepared to defend himself. He throws it at the knight's face and detonates it with fire magic at his face. The pouch ignites strongly in Ashura's face. Hiroto reaches him but is surprised that the knight's body inside the armor is just a skeleton. Ashura quickly counters with his sword, so Hiroto tries to guard with the dagger but it slips from his hand. Ashura moves quickly toward him, so Hiroto prepares. He grabs his arm and flips him to the ground with all his strength. He seizes the horn coming out of the helmet and strikes with all his strength at his throat with his other hand. Ito is surprised he knows how to use judo. He tells her, I am like you. Because my rank is low I tried everything to become stronger and I struggled a lot. They sit together afterward and Ito asks in astonishment, this school's dungeon is supposed to be a monster dungeon only. So why is there an armored skeleton of the zombie type here? Hiroto thinks again of Yuzuki when she said a disaster will happen. He says, I am worried about Yuzuki and thinking of going to her. Ito is more surprised and asks him, you are worried about the strongest person in the whole academy. She tells him, but are you sure you will actually help her? As for me, I will not be able to do anything if I go with you. I think I will stay here. She clenches her fist in anger and trying to hold back her tears. She tells him, although since I was young I always gave all my effort to become stronger. Her eyes brim with tears, but suddenly a notification interrupts on the mobile. She looks and finds the same message Hiroto found from the Demon Lord system. She is surprised and says, what is this? Hiroto tries to keep her from knowing so she does not become like him, and tells her that must be a virus. Then she tells him, if you are really going there alone, you must promise me something. Hiroto is surprised and asks her something what? She replies, it will be hard for me to sleep knowing the person who saved me will die. So you must promise me you will return alive. And also because I want to treat you to a cup of coffee when we return to the academy. Hiroto is surprised but likes her words and promises her and shakes her hand before leaving, but suddenly he gets a notification on the mobile from the Demon Lord system and finds the agility stats are in a different color also. Hiroto, he says the matter is getting worse. There are many knights like the one we killed. At the same time Black Asura's knights are spread in the place killing all the hunters and students. One of the trainers tries to control the panic in the place. She shouts saying pull yourselves together a little. Are you not all trying to become hunters? They tell her in fear we are not real hunters yet. She replies but this is one of the incidents that can happen to you in any demus normally and you must deal with it. And you are lucky this time you have strong trainers with you including the strongest swordsman in the world Instructor Godai. They are reassured a little and the teacher tells them I will take command. A group of armored hunters gathers around them to protect them. But suddenly while the trainer is talking a sword pierces her head. All the students are terrified and look at Instructor Godai and find him already dead so they return to a state of panic and terror again. On the other side in the deepest place of the dungeon the healer puts his hand on Yuzuki's shoulder and tells her even the trainers do not know what to do. You are our only hope because there is nothing you cannot do. Yuzuki thinks of her strongest skill which is the battle dragon spirit. It covers her body with fighting spirit and her stats double temporarily but they had told her this skill draws from her lifespan when she uses it. The healer selfishly tells her I know this skill draws from your life but there is no one else who can save us. Please use your life to save us. Yuzuki says in herself there is still no proof this skill counts from my life. But all those around me are very selfish. She removes his hand from her shoulder and draws her sword. The healer thanks her and Yuzuki activates the skill and flames swirl around her. She tells those behind her support me with all your power and says in herself I have no other solution because I am a kind strong heroine and this is my role and I must fulfill it. Ito is surprised and asks him are you serious? He tells her yes more than 10 are coming here now. And I do not know how to explain to you but I am sure of what I say. Stay hidden in your place. Suddenly they really appear and Hiroto feels it is impossible to handle them all alone. The first knight charges at him so he evades his sword quickly. The second attacks him and he steps away then one from behind lunges and pierces his body. Hiroto falls to the ground and dies. A screen appears that says if the player's death is confirmed during the registration period the system will be stopped. The screen changes and it writes a match found with the sealed demon lord seed named Toshin Ryu Vritra and the player will be transferred to Vritra's field. Indeed Hiroto is transferred to another place very strange. Suddenly he finds a huge dragon before him. And finds a screen before him written start of the Demon Lord hunting tutorial. At that moment the dragon breathes fire on him so Hiroto dies. He forms in another place and finds a question what did you feel in facing Vritra for the first time? Another screen appears saying in the presence of the tutorial the player will not die because there is a skill from a higher being protecting him. The condition to acquire a new skill is to kill Vritra. If it does not happen within 3600 seconds the player will be considered surrendered and then he will lose any high level or acquired skill. He finds there is around him a barrier with a certain area. If he wants to surrender he stays within the barrier's range until the time limit ends. Suddenly a sword forms beside him and a screen appears saying it can cut anything except Vritra's scales. Hiroto is very flustered and says then that means the sword is useless. Then he composes himself and thinks again about all the factors he has. He comes out with a plan and feels certain of it also, but he is tempted by the idea that he can stay in his place and surrender and that is it instead of risking, but then realizes that means he will return to the dungeon he was in and be tormented by the knights. He hits himself to focus and recover. He grabs the mobile and decides to trust the application that made him this strong. He takes the sword and leaves the barrier. He runs at the dragon quickly so the dragon stretches its hand. Hiroto dodges and climbs it then jumps. The dragon opens its mouth to eat him and Hiroto indeed falls inside and the dragon swallows him. Hiroto falls into its stomach and says very good. Since the sword cuts everything except the dragon's scales then it will cut it from inside normally. But the shock is that the dragon's stomach acid dissolves his body and the game forms his body again. He continues in this torment and pain for long and blames himself for his recklessness. He remembers from the start what caused all this. He says in himself I think all this was because I wanted strength. Or rather because I did not want Yuzuki to look at me as weak again. He holds the sword again while his body melts and reforms. He controls his nerves and strikes at the stomach wall of the dragon piercing its body with all his strength. The dragon falls from the sky to the ground. Hiroto emerges from inside and a screen notification appears before him saying the hunter ability has reached its limit and after that experiences will accumulate but cannot be added to his strength because his rank is low. Afterward another screen appears saying returning the player to his original location. On the other side Yuzuki remembers when she was young she and Hiroto played together a game on mobile. Yuzuki tells him the heroes you find in games are always kind and strong. He replies then I will be the hero next round and you will be the healer. Yuzuki gets upset and asks him why do you always say I am the healer? He replies because fighting is the boy's role. And because I do not want to see you hurt ever. Yuzuki says in herself when I think of what Hiroto said then I feel he was right even if it was old thinking. She remembers remembers when he said and not just in the game. If you find yourself in trouble just call me and you will find me coming to help you. She says in herself I do not hate that side of Hiroto. After that time passed and the role of heroine I asked to play in the game happened for real. Although I was better in the role of healer. From then on all depended on me and the pressure and burden increased and it was too much on me. She looks around unable to move and says after all died only I remain and all I could do was kill only one knight. She looks at the ground and asks does that mean I was not a real heroine? She says I think I will die this time for real. Then she stands again gathering her courage. She says I cannot die here but her trembling hands fail her refusing to stand. She realizes she is afraid of what she sees before her. She says in herself I was optimistic all my life to the extent I never had time to feel fear. And that was because I acted in the way all wanted me to act. The sword falls from her hand and she says but the truth is that all the time I was weak. Her tears fall to the ground and she says someone save me. Hiroto, Black Asura is before her and before he brings down his sword Hiroto appears and pierces him with one kick. Quickly he kicks the other breaking him. Yuzuki looks at him in astonishment remembering when he told her when you are in trouble call me and you will find me. She asks herself why is he stronger than me and how can someone of rank F be strong enough to reach here in the deepest place. Hiroto continues destroying the knights one after another. Yuzuki's mind keeps questioning. Then she cries and says but if you are truly this strong why did you not come a little faster? He replies I came at my fastest. I will finish them and come to you. He activates the skill he gained from the dragon he defeated. One knight strikes at him with the sword so Hiroto stops it with only his fingers. With the dagger in his other hand he slices him in two like cake. Quickly he charges at the rest and eliminates them all. Yuzuki tells him all monsters have been exterminated. Then with sadness says and allies too. Hiroto replies in astonishment true that all in this area died but surely those at the entrance are still alive. She shows him a blue crystal used for communication because there is no dungeon network. She tells him we lost contact with them a while ago. He tells her there is still one survivor. A girl named Ito I told her to hide until I come and when I returned I found she disappeared. Surely those knights kidnapped her so I must rescue her. She replies telling him surely I will come with you to help you. And also because it is safer for me to be beside you. She puts her hand on his shoulder and this time the look of weakness she had for him changes. She tells him I will depend on you. But suddenly they are both shocked when Ito's corpse falls before them pierced with many knives.